Hey everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply once again. I thought I'd just do a little short video today discussing briefly buying versus building. I get a lot of questions all the time as to should I buy something pre-made, should I try and build something? And we'll just discuss that a little bit and the advantages of and the disadvantages of, and hopefully it leads you down the right road. And for Memorial Day, we have our flag there, that's Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to run a few trains, or I'm going to take a picture of a few trains running out here today. I just felt like being out here and running some trains. So it's going to be a little combo video, and I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into this. Happy Memorial Day to, and thanks to everybody who has served and who is still serving the United States. And let's get on with this. Okay, buying versus building. A lot of that, making that decision evolves from what you think your skill sets are. A lot of people want to put a lot of detail and build specific locomotives, and they tear stuff apart and create stuff from other things. But that doesn't mean that the normal everyday guy has to, and it doesn't mean that someone can't enjoy the hobby any less by buying something pre-made. It's the same thing with buildings. I'll go around in a little while here and give you some examples of what I've done in pre-made buildings and building kits versus, say, scratch building or kit bashing, whatever the case is. But like I keep saying, it doesn't mean that no matter how you do it, you can't have fun at it, because I have a couple of customers who literally buy everything pre-made. They send stuff off. They have people put, well, I mean, there's a lot of people have decoders put in, but they have all kinds of things done. They have structures built for them. They have people come in and build bench work for them, and they lay it and stuff. But there again, even if you have somebody do it for you, the enjoyment may be, and their part of the hobby is not so much building it, or maybe at a time constraint or something, but just running the trains, having the trains, enjoying collecting the trains. I've always said there's all kinds of facets to this hobby, and some guys just like to collect equipment and look at it. Other guys like to buy it, and they won't buy it if it doesn't run. That's me. They run it all the time, and they want it to run good. There's guys that are just happy to look at it in a case. I have some things that I just sit up there and look at in a case and inside. But a lot of times it has to do with whether or not you have the time to do stuff, or the talent to do stuff, or the physical ability to do stuff. But there again, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the hobby either way. And there's all kinds of hobbies that way. I have a good friend here. I posted videos of his layout. His name is Mike Canizero, and I don't think he'll mind me mentioning that. He worked for Ford Motor Company, and he bought and sold exotic cars and so forth when he was working for Ford. He built several hot rods, came very close to becoming a Riddler Award winner at one time. He's just done and built a lot of things. And he would build his own things, and he would fix his own things, except for things that were out of his ability. Say on the exotic cars, he'd take it to an expert to have scratches fixed in a paint job on an exotic car or something. But he was a very good body man, he was a very good builder, and he could do a lot of the stuff. However, getting back to what I'm trying to point out here is that you go to these car shows now, and the guy that owns the car generally spent $250,000, $1 million to have someone else build the car. I think that a lot of that, in some ways, for me, if I was doing it, would take the fun out of it. But maybe for those people, the fun of it would be just owning whatever the item is. And the same thing applies to model trains or any type of hobby. But I'm just going to go around and show you some things here that were scratch built and not necessarily by me and so forth, and explain what you can do even if you're a moderate builder, to buy things that are not kits, or that are kits for that matter, that you can modify and so forth. Things that you can buy off the shelf and touch up a little bit, and kits that you can build and just change a few things. But anyway, I try, without rambling on, I'll try and get onto this and just show you some of the things that I bought, some of the things that I've modified, and some of the things that are kits. So let's take a look. Okay, one of the classic examples of something that you could buy is that McDonald's restaurant right there. It's a Hallmark Christmas tree ornament, and I think most of the N Scalers know about them. I don't know when they came out. It's been many, many years ago. But someone found out they were the right size for N Scale, and the price of them went sky high. I got mine before the price went sky high, and the only thing I've done to that building is just put the bushes in the flower beds around it and filled the hole in the roof where the ornament hanger used to go. So pretty much that's something that's off the shelf. Let's take another look. Okay, this is another item. My hobo camp. All those buildings are pre-made by Model Tech Studios. You can buy the light flicker kit, and all the figures were pre-painted hobos by Woodland Scenes. So that's something that someone could just put together on a layout without having to have any kind of modeling skills. All it has to do is be put in place. Now, my church over here, it was also a Hallmark Christmas tree ornament, but it had snow all around it. I think I've mentioned before in other videos, but I had to take all the snow off from around the bottom of it, put a new base on it, take the roof off which had snow on it, and put a new roof on it. But that's just a simplistic overhaul of a pre-made structure. It was even painted this color. Everything on it was like that. Now, a structure kit, relatively easy structure kit, would be something like the Walther's apartment back there. You basically paint it and put it together, or not paint it and put it together. Most of the structures in my downtown area right here are from kit form, with maybe some added details, some painting to make them look different. I didn't really modify most of these. Of course, the broken down building there, or the demolished building, was, I believe, a lifelike kit. All it takes is a little painting and a little weathering to make it look like something. And it's in the downtown area. Of course, there's a lot of areas like on the other side of it that I have not finished everywhere on the layout. If we move back here, the Selena's Tavern, you guys will probably recognize that. That's a Bar Mills kit, I believe. And it's a wood kit. It's one of the first wood kits I built. A lot of these laser cut kits go together real well. The little Bingo's pool hall next to it is a downtown deco building, little tiny building, a very, very good beginner's kit if you want to get into that. And like I say, most of the buildings I do, I modify in some way or have repainted. But let's take a look at a couple more. Okay, these two houses right here, they are, you guys might recognize them. I don't know who the maker is, but they're porcelain. They come pre-painted. And when you put them in a background, you know, nobody knows the difference, and they look pretty good, I think. If I back up to my fascia, you can see that from way out here, they look pretty decent. That's another thing that's possible. As a model railroader, we're always keeping our eyes out for things that in the real world that are designed for something else, not necessarily model railroading, that we can use on a layout. And those particular items are two of them. Now let's get into modified buildings that don't appear to be modified. This depot, and I'm sure I've explained it in other videos, but in N Scale, for some reason, this Santa Fe depot comes in brick, and maybe Santa Fe had a bunch of them in brick, I don't know. But out here in the Southwest, most of them They may be brick, but eventually over time they were stuccoed on the outside. So therefore, my whole depot wound up getting stuccoed. We take a look at this car building here. I narrowed it down from 3 stalls to 2 stalls because it would fit my area. So I basically cut one whole side off of it and narrowed the roof. A pretty simple kit modification that makes it look like no other engine house or service facility out there. I also put the crane inside. You can't see it, and I did a video on it a long time ago. In fact, let me see if I can get the roof off. Now you can see the crane in there. There's quite a bit of detail on the inside of this building that you don't ever see. But it's not something that's necessary either, unless it strikes your fancy. Now I'm going to drop down here, and there was a woman. This is Pfeiffer Hobby Supply on my layout. There was a woman on eBay that was making these out of wooden blocks. This whole structure is made out of a block of wood. Has a little disc. She cut a little slot in there, slid the disc into the slot, glued it in place, and that is the awning. She did the same thing on the steps. She cut a little notch and layered discs in there for the steps up to the doorway. The doorway is just a piece of printed paper, or the door itself is just a piece of printed paper. But these were creative ideas, and I thought the buildings she did were very cool, and I'll give you another example of her buildings. But this is something that I purchased, and I just put my sign on there. I just bought it. Somebody made it, and I just bought it. Let's go look at another. Okay, the bowling alley was another building she did. It's basically a block of wood that she had sanded off the curvature of the roof. She put a facade on the front. Once again, all the doors were printed out of paper, and it just shows you that inexpensively you could create buildings out of almost anything. But here again, this is an example of something that I bought that someone else built. Okay, you all have seen the Reliable Warehouse and Storage, which is a Middlesex manufacturing, I think, building. Whatever they call it, Middlesex, I think it's Middlesex Manufacturing by Atlas. And I've gone over this before, but what I did on this is angle this building to fit the space that it was required to fit in. Not a big deal, just cut one wall and cut the end wall down there and tilted the back wall in, and all I had to do was create a roof pattern and build a roof. So that's an example of a building that was a relatively easy fix and change. So let's take a look, swing to my left a little bit and take a look at another one. Okay, I don't remember the name of this structure, but it's been around for years and years and years, and I believe it was done by Pola, but I'm not real positive. Maybe Helgen. I honestly don't remember. This kit was built just as it came, with the addition of some details on the roof, some piping, and stuff around the building itself. The addition of the water tower over there, and the little water tank here, the black water tank. This is now T. Leary Chemical Company on my layout. But I painted it kind of a pale green color, but I liked it for a southwestern layout because it had a tile roof, and I have had a lot of people say, oh, you know, they wouldn't go to that kind of expense to put a tile roof on a industrial building. Well, I beg to differ. When you're close to Mexico, you might find a lot of tile roofs and things of that nature because of the proximity to having some of that stuff made. Yeah, back east they might not do it, but out here, being 40 minutes from the border, they do those kind of things, or they may have done those kind of things. So anyway, we're going to move on here a little bit. I think I'm pretty much done rambling about this, but I'm just trying to impress on everybody that no matter what you like to do, what you don't like to do in the hobby. The hobby should just be fun for you. You can go as far and as simple as you want to, depending on the time you have, the money you have, and everything. But the whole idea, as I've said in previous videos, is to have fun with it. So, with all that being said, and without sounding like a broken record, which I may already have, let's just watch a few trains run around the ACT today. This freight is pulling up the grade on the newly completed single track on the north end of the layout. Okay, gang, I hope you enjoyed this brief kind of rambling video, but anyway, happy Memorial Day to everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Have a good barbecue, whatever you plan on doing. Have safe travels if you're going somewhere. And as usual, thanks for watching.